Hey guys, it's Nicole. Welcome back to my channel for another video. Today I am going to be doing my February TBR, and it's slightly ambitious because I don't know if I'm going to read all of these, and it's kind of all over the place. I kind of just went through my bookshelves and I kind of picked out some of the books that were romantic since February. Valentine's Day, I figured, I'd go through there, see what I can find, see what happens. Yeah, so let's get right into the video. Okay, so the first three books are not romance. They are the last three books in the Neverland Girls series, and I want to finish these probably this week and see how far with that takes me, because I want to finish this series so I can check it off my list. And as I've explained, these books are about Mia, Lainey, Kate, and Gabby. And these four girls go on adventures in Neverland with Tinkerbell and all her friends and Peter Pan and all kinds of stuff like that. So I'm excited to finally finish this series off. And the last three books I have to read are On the Trail, which obviously reading next, you can see my bookmark, Into the Waves, and In the Game. And these are all by Kiki Thorpe. So that is that. The next book I have is Heart-Shaped Box by Joe Hill. So this book is kind of about a man named Judas, I think is how you pronounce it. And basically he one day receives a heart-shaped box, a black heart-shaped box, and then he kind of sees this man everywhere he goes. I'm not really sure how romantic this is, but I figured it kind of had like a Valentine's Day title. It's kind of like a spooky horror story, but it sounded like it had something to do with like some kind of creepy Valentine's Day thing too. So I figured maybe, pick it up in February, see where this can take me. I'm very excited to read this book. I've had it for like ages now, and I can't wait to read it. So I'm very excited for this one, and we'll see what happens. The next book I have is Marleys Ghost by David Leviathan. And so this one, it's kind of interesting because it's kind of a take on A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, but like Valentine's Day themed. So basically it's about a man named Ben, and his girlfriend has recently died. So these three ghosts, past, present, and future, come to visit him on Valentine's Day because he's kind of like a Scrooge since his girlfriend dies. So it doesn't really mean anything to him anymore. So I'm very excited for this one because it's kind of like, it's like a different take on the Christmas Carol, and I love those. But yeah, so I'm very excited to see where this book takes me. Wow, can't English. The next book I have is Little Big Love by Katie Regan. Yeah. So this book is about a 10-year-old boy named Zach who lives with his single mother, Juliet. And so he's never really had a father figure around because when he was born, he didn't have his father there, but now growing up, he wants to know who his father is, where he is, why he's not there with them. And so he kind of heads out to find his dad to give his mom what he thinks she wants, which is to love her husband and for him to have a loving father. But then he kind of goes on this crazy adventure to realize why he left in the first place, why he's no longer there, and it sounds kind of interesting. So this is actually an arc. I didn't get it myself, but this is actually an arc from a library, I think. Basically, my local library was doing kind of like a book sale, and it was like $1 for paperbacks and $2 for hardcover or something like that. So me and my family went and we got a ton of books. So this was one of them. So I'm kind of excited to read this one, and I figured since it was about love, we'd check it out for Valentine's Day. So the next three books I picked out on a whim just because I knew they were kind of romantic. I don't know if I'm going to read them because I've all read them already, but I figured, I kind of wanted to stick to the romance thing. So the first book I have is Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon. And if you don't know, this is a very popular book, but if you don't know, this is about a girl named Maddie, and she has this disease where she has a very low immune system. She can't go outside because the diseases and stuff can severely hurt her and kill her. So she stays home with her nurse Carla and her mother. But one day, a boy named Ollie moves in next door, and they start chatting, and then they go on these crazy adventures to get her out of the house. They go to Hawaii. It's pretty cool. It's pretty crazy, and it's definitely about love. So I kind of just picked this up on a whim. I don't know if I'm going to read it or not, but we'll see. The next book I have, of course, is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, and also a very popular book. I've read it. It's one of my favorite books, but I figured it was fitting for this time of year because, you know, love and all that. But if you don't know, if you've never heard of this book, which where have you been if you haven't, but this book is about a girl named Hazel Grace, and she meets this guy, Augustus Waters. And so basically Hazel and Augustus meet together, and they both have cancer. So they go together on this huge trip, and they start to fall in love, and it's really cute. It's really heartbreaking, and I'm very obsessed with this book. It's one of my favorite books, and I will never part with it because ever since I read it, it is my baby. And you should definitely not check it out if you have not read it, because where have you been if you have not read this book? Go read it. And the last book on my February TBR is The Princess Bride by William Goldman. This is one of my favorite books as well, and I'm very, very excited to read this again because it's one of my favorite stories. I absolutely fell in love with it. But for those of you who don't know what this is about a girl named Buttercup, and she has fallen in love with Wesley, her farm boy, as she calls him. And so what happens is Wesley sails out to find a better life for himself from them, but he never returns, and what Buttercup believes is that he was killed, and she says she will never love again. And so what happens is she ends up marrying or engaging to the prince, and then basically what happens is Buttercup's waiting for Wesley to come back, and it's a very crazy story filled with like totally crazy elements, but it's a very well written story, and it's very dear to my heart as well. I only have a very few select favorite books. I know I rate them pretty high, but I only have a few select books that mean this much to me, and this is definitely one of them. And if you have not read it, you should definitely check it out because I highly recommend this book. That's it. That's my TBR for February. I don't know if I'm going to get them all read. I don't even know if I'm going to read half of them. But it's kind of an ambitious TBR, but it's kind of there because I'm excited to read them all because I love my books. We should know this. But thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!